In a world that never stops watching, where our every move is broadcasted across endless screens, where our thoughts are converted into captions, and our emotions into content, choosing to live a private life feels radical. It feels rebellious. It feels rare. We wake up in the morning and instinctively reach for our devices, eyes still blurry, minds not yet grounded. Before we've even checked in with ourselves, we check in with the world. Scroll, swipe, like, comment, compare. We're not just connecting anymore, we're performing. For strangers, for algorithms, for approval we may not even need. We're encouraged to believe that our value is directly proportional to our visibility. That if it isn't shared, it didn't happen. That if it's not liked, it's not lovable. That if no one sees you doing it, you might as well not be doing anything at all. And so, we perform. We perform happiness even when we're hurting. We perform success even when we feel lost. We even perform vulnerability, packaged in digestible sound bites, because we've learned that even our pain needs to be aesthetically pleasing to be accepted. But behind the stories, the highlights, and the perfectly crafted versions of ourselves, many of us are left wondering, where did the real me go? Why does this still feel empty? Why does the noise feel louder than ever, and yet I've never felt more alone? This message, this reminder, is for the ones who are tired. Tired of being always on, always available, always seen, but rarely understood. This is for the ones who are starting to realize that privacy isn't the enemy of connection, it's the birthplace of authenticity. That silence isn't suspicious, it's sacred. That a life lived quietly is not a life unlived, it's a life preserved. Choosing a private life doesn't mean you're hiding. It means you're healing. It means you're honoring the spaces within you that are still unfolding. It means you are finally realizing that the most important moments are not the ones posted, they're the ones felt. It's in the quiet morning when you sit with your coffee and your thoughts. It's in the laughter shared with a friend who doesn't need an update to feel close. It's in the tears cried in solitude, the ones that bring clarity no audience ever could. When you live a private life, you start to reclaim what matters. You reclaim your time once given away to curating, editing, and explaining. You reclaim your energy once spent trying to be understood by people who were never meant to understand you. You reclaim your worth, no longer tethered to hearts or thumbs or algorithms. And in that stillness, something powerful takes root. You start to see yourself again, not as a brand, not as a profile, but as a whole, complex, beautiful human being. You begin to trust your own pace. You begin to cherish your inner voice. You begin to make peace with not being everything to everyone. Because a private life is not about isolation. It's about intentionality. It's about choosing who gets access to you. Who gets to hear your stories. Who deserves your presence. You learn that not everything has to be processed out loud. That some dreams are stronger when protected. That some love is deeper when kept between just two hearts. That growth doesn't need witnesses to be real. And as your life becomes quieter, it becomes clearer. You start to notice the ones who stay, not because of what you show, but because of who you are. The ones who don't need proof to believe in your love. The ones who understand that depth doesn't always come with display. Your relationships evolve, your boundaries strengthen, your peace expands, and most importantly, you start living for something far more meaningful than approval. You start living for truth. You realize that you don't owe the world your every moment. That mystery can be magnetic. That being unseen is not the same as being insignificant. You are allowed to rest without explanation. You are allowed to dream without documentation. You are allowed to grow in silence. You are allowed to let your life bloom off camera, behind the scenes, where it's safest and strongest. So as the noise of the world grows louder, let this be your quiet revolution. Let this be your choice to turn inward when everyone else is shouting outward. Let this be your permission to keep parts of yourself sacred, to protect your peace like it's priceless, because it is. And when the lights go out, and the feed goes silent, and the noise finally fades, what's left is what's real. What's left is your soul. What's left is your life, unfiltered, unperformed, and undeniably yours. Our thoughts, feelings, and sense of self. When a person experiences emotional abuse, their brain undergoes complex changes that affect not only their mental and emotional well-being but also how they perceive the world and relate to others throughout their life. To understand these effects, we must first explore how the brain normally responds to stress and danger. The brain is equipped with a highly sophisticated alarm system designed to keep us safe, the fight-or-flight response. When we encounter a threat, this system activates and floods the body with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones prepare the body to react quickly, by either fighting the danger or fleeing from it. This response is crucial for survival in acute, short-term danger. However, emotional abuse rarely happens in short bursts. Instead, it often occurs repeatedly and over long periods of time, creating a state of chronic, unrelenting stress known as toxic stress. This is a state in which the brain and body are continuously exposed to elevated stress hormones without any relief or safe recovery time. Toxic stress fundamentally rewires the brain in harmful ways. One of the first brain regions affected by emotional abuse is the amygdala. The amygdala is the brain's emotional center and threat detector. It helps us recognize danger and respond emotionally to the world around us. In someone who has been emotionally abused, the amygdala becomes overactive and hypersensitive. This heightened activity means the brain is on constant alert, always searching for threats, even when none exist. The person becomes hypervigilant, reacting strongly to criticism, rejection, or perceived slights. Everyday interactions that feel safe to others may trigger feelings of anxiety, fear, or anger in the survivor. This hyperarousal can lead to disorders like anxiety, panic attacks, and post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD). While the amygdala is on high alert, other parts of the brain also suffer. The hippocampus, which plays a critical role in forming and retrieving memories and in contextualizing experiences, often shrinks in response to prolonged toxic stress. This shrinkage results in difficulties with memory, learning, and concentration. For survivors of emotional abuse, this may manifest as trouble remembering positive experiences, difficulty making sense of their trauma, and persistent feelings of confusion and helplessness. The shrinking hippocampus disrupts the ability to regulate emotions effectively and contributes to the cyclical nature of trauma where painful memories resurface repeatedly, often without clear cause or context. Another key brain area affected is the prefrontal cortex, located at the front of the brain. The prefrontal cortex governs critical higher functions like decision-making, impulse control, planning, and social behavior. When emotional abuse impairs this region, survivors may find it harder to control their emotions, make healthy decisions, or engage confidently in social relationships. This can manifest as impulsivity, difficulty setting boundaries, problems with trust, and struggles with managing everyday stress. The impaired prefrontal cortex weakens a person's ability to regulate the heightened emotional responses driven by the amygdala, creating a constant internal battle between fear and reason. The brain's neural connections are shaped by repeated experiences. When someone is emotionally abused, the brain learns to associate the self with negativity, shame, worthlessness, fear, and self-doubt. These negative associations become deeply ingrained neural pathways. The survivor's inner dialogue may echo the abuser's criticisms and insults, leading to persistent feelings of low self-esteem and self-hatred. This internalized abuse is often harder to heal than the external abuse itself because it feels like an inescapable truth. Socially, emotional abuse often isolates individuals. Abusers frequently use manipulation, control, and intimidation to cut off survivors from friends, family, or support systems. This isolation damages the social brain, the parts responsible for empathy,